Hey everybody, welcome back to the K2N Online Paddle School. We are back here on YouTube, and this is the second part of our three-part series talking about preventing power slippage in the surfski and kayak stroke. In the previous video, we broke down creating shapes and understanding the movements related to the surfski and kayak stroke with the wing blade. The shapes that we create before initiating the stroke lock in our potential leverages and helps us to maximize our stroke. If we start with poor leverages, we cannot regain those leverages in the middle of the stroke when the paddle is under pressure. We have to start with very specific shaping with the body, which allows us to utilize these leverages throughout the rest of the stroke. In this video, we will talk about holding shapes throughout the stroke. Once we create the shapes, now as the blade goes into the water, there is an immense amount of pressure on the blade, and our ability to react and deal with this pressure dictates how fast we can move our kayak. As we interact with the water, there are points where our joints will want to travel through the path of least resistance. If our pathing is incorrect and we don't deal with the pressure that is on the blade, we cannot effectively move our boat. The best way to think about preventing this power slippage is think about the blade interacting with the water and your body's position being a game of tug of war. If you create poor shapes and you have poor pathing, the water wins this tug of war. It breaks your shaping, and all of the leverages that you have to your advantage are now squandered. It is very important to create shapes and hold them very specifically to allow you to win that tug of war. Paddling effectively is finding the most amount of pressure every stroke. If you have great leverages at your disposal and you're able to maintain those leverages, you can create much more force and wattage output and move the boat more effectively using less energy. Paddlers that get very tired quickly in their paddle stroke have poor leverages and try to use these leverages during the middle of the stroke, and they cannot deal with this pressure. Now their muscles are at this leverage disadvantage and they ultimately lose that tug of war. In order to hold these shapes throughout the stroke, we must go through very specific pathing with the upper body, the hips. We will quickly run through that pathing here in this video, but if you need more information, the K2NOnlinePaddleSchool.com has over 50 videos dedicated to the forward stroke with the wing blade paddle in the surfski, breaking down the entirety of the kinetic chain and each joint and understanding the phases of the stroke and bringing all these ideas together for multiple different skill levels allows you to put the pieces together to get the most out of your stroke. So expanding on the shapes that we are trying to create, we have the top arm at about 90 degrees, somewhere in this range, bottom arm is extended, and we create this power triangle. In order to hold this shape, my hands have to go through a very specific pathing. If my bottom elbow breaks and my top arm punches, I break this power triangle I've created in the middle here. The power triangle is defined by the distance between my sternum and the middle of the paddle, and maintaining this distance allows us to create and hold the most amount of leverage throughout the stroke. As we interact with the water, all the forces of the water are going to want to try and pull this paddle towards us. If we lose the tug of war, we will break shape in this direction. So the first pathing that we want to think about is with the top arm. The top arm's pathing needs to come across the body downward and diagonally specifically. You will hear coaching cues about the top hand going across the horizon, and you will see canoe paddlers taking this hand and driving it straight down. What we're looking to do is to utilize the hips and the torso to maintain this position and allow this diagonal pathing to occur. Very distinctly, it must come downward and diagonal across the body. Losing this tug of war would be having this hand travel through a pathing that has the least amount of resistance. What that will look like in the front of the stroke is this hand comes upward or straight across here to a point. Once the paddle is neutral, this hand will now find the least amount of pressure coming downward. So instead of traveling diagonally through the most amount of resistance, paddlers will get to this end point by coming across and downward in this way. There is less pressure on this line here with the top arm than there is coming straight down like so. This is where one-liner coaching cues can be inhibiting to your ongoing success. Top hand across the horizon will make paddlers go like this. And unfortunately, there is no pressure to be gained by pushing upward or straight diagonally this way, and we end up just slicing the blade. The water is under us. The pressure we need to use and utilize is under us. Coming downward onto the stroke gives us this leverage to push the boat forward. If I'm going in this direction, nothing is moving the boat and propelling us forward. We have to come downward onto that stroke. The next point of power slippage is going to be at this elbow, pulling towards the body. Breaking shape here is very common because we think if I pull with my arm in this way, I'm going to move the boat forward. Effectively, what we're trying to do in the stroke is to create an anchor with the paddle, and we're moving the boat to the paddle like so. If I pull at my elbow, I am now moving my anchor point closer to me, so as I pull the boat forward, I don't go to the same spot. Keeping this arm extended and moving the entirety of the body forward is the goal, as opposed to try and pull the paddle towards us and splitting the difference, cutting our forward momentum in half. Thinking of it like rock climbing and having your pick, you stick your pick into the mountain and you move your entire body and all your gear to the pick. You don't pull the mountain towards you. This is what we're trying to do with the water. As we break shape, we lose leverage, and the only way that we can pull and slip the blade through the water is by engaging with these smaller muscles. What we want to do is keep this arm straight and turn the entire torso into the stroke. The distance between my chest and the middle of the paddle here is going to remain the same from the start of the stroke to the end of the stroke in this fashion. If I pull with my elbow, this distance will always shorten and you will lose leverage throughout the stroke. Maintaining that leverage is in holding that shape by keeping this arm straight and turning your body to the side. Looking at that from the front, we don't want to pull and close this gap. We want to turn the body to the side, maintaining this leverage, setting up, creating shapes, and as we hold shapes, top hand comes down diagonally, bottom arm comes out to the side, and we have a motion that now looks like this. The next spacing that we want to maintain is at the lowest rib, and between the pelvis, there is this fleshy space here where the oblique muscles lie. Keeping the spacing equal on either side gives us a very upright torso. If I were to collapse, it would look something like this to the side. Or if I break shape with both of them, I collapse my spine into poor posture like so. As we create shapes, we want to maintain this, and as we go through the stroke, we do not want to fold over on this side. As we are pushing downward and using momentum on this side, this muscle will easily fail and you will see paddlers lean to the side like so or this way. Maintaining these shapes dictates that we hold that good posture that we create and utilize it through our good hand pathing without breaking and losing the spacing here. So as we go through, we don't want to fold in this way, and we also do not want to fold in this way either. Keeping this spacing here keeps us upright and allows our power transfer to be more complete. The moment these muscles collapse, you turn off the connection between your legs and your upper body. The movement of your legs can only reach the upper body if the spacing is still here. Collapsing the spacing cuts your body in half, and now you're only arm paddling with your upper body. Maintaining this good posture allows the leg movement to dictate the shoulder and the hands moving through that stroke. So one more time, the top arm, in order to hold the power triangle shape and win the tug of war, must come down diagonally, not across and downward. The bottom arm should stay straight. The distance between the chest and the paddle should remain at its longest distance all the way through the stroke until the exit. Keeping this arm straight and turning the torso to the side gives us that. Breaking shape here is power slippage. Finally, keeping the torso upright allows your leg motion to reach the upper body. If we collapse here and we move the legs, the hands don't move. Having the spacing here, when I pump my legs, it now powers my hips properly and I'm able to move. So that's it this week for holding shapes. Next week's video is going to be talking about the directional forces that power power, the shapes that we're trying to go. If you aren't sure about your paddling technique, we offer video reviews on the K2NOnlinePaddleSchool.com. You can upload video of you paddling. I'll break it down and send it back to you within about a day. You can find all that information directly on the website. Combine that with all the educational videos that we do have on the online paddle school. These ideas synergize together to help maximize your progress. Don't wander around in the forest completely alone. Use a coach. Use a resource to help you learn and be a more effective paddler. Thank you all so much for the support on the channel. If you have any products that you would like to see featured on this channel, please reach out to me anytime and we can get those videos made. These last video series have been very popular and people reaching out and communicating with us via the online website and or via my email. Feel free to reach out about any questions that you have about paddling, whether it's equipment or technique. Anything that you want to talk about, I'm an open resource for you to take advantage of. My joy is watching you all get better and enjoy the videos. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys next week when we talk about directional forces in the stroke.